This is the entrance to Sansan Inn. It's a temple about an hour north of Kyoto. This is Jioji Temple in Kyoto, well known for its moss garden. It's November 9th, 2016. This is downtown Istanbul, Turkey. This is erected in 390 AD. It came from Egypt. The obelisk, probably 50 feet tall. This building was built in 1895. It's at the foothills of the mountains outside of Kyoto. This is the Blue Mosque, the largest, most famous mosque in Istanbul. In the background is the Hagia Sophia, built in the 500s, first as a Christian church. After the Ottoman Turks took over, it became a mosque. This mosque is called the Cendano Validi Mosque. It began in 1869. That water dropped and goes into a tiny little stream here. It goes through the moss garden. Here comes my train. Right on time. I'm in a very last car. This is a Shinkansen. It's 187 miles an hour. This is the entrance to Daitokuji Temple. It was erected in 1520 for the Hatakarino family. Inside there are many sub-temples. This is Ryogen Inn. First of the temples that I'm inside now. This is the Kampokuji Temple, established in the late 1700s. That's the entrance door here. About 9:30 in the morning. Middle 50s. Beautiful sunshine. Here's a little Shinto shrine alongside the road. With a swastika symbol. And very close by is another one. This is now Daikakuji Temple. Here is a moss garden in the interior of the temple. This is now just inside the gate. This temple was built in the 800s when the capital was first moved to Kyoto, then called Heian. Very beautiful Japanese maple. This bridge right now is the exit of Saihuji, also known as Kokedera, or in English, Moss Temple, which I'm about to enter. And the path continues up a hill. And then right outside the Kyoto train station is the Kyoto Tower. This is now the inside of Kokedera, or Saihuji. This is now farther inside the temple. Very nice little garden here, about 10 feet by about 60 feet. Very interesting. This is another part of the garden. Quite incredible. It's about 9:30 in the morning, so the sun is at a low angle. It's a little moss garden there, polytrichum moss. This is now taken from inside the garden. The garden's supposed to be anywhere from 2.5 to 4 acres in size. A little stream running here. This is now in about 150 feet. There's a pond in the center of the whole garden. So this is looking at it now. That fence there marks the boundary. This is now the end of the lake. This is now taken from a little bit up the hill, down towards where it just came from. There are a couple of these moss-covered bridges that go to the island in the center. Very pretty Japanese maple here. I'm now leaving the station at 7:20. Exactly on time. This is now the other side of the pond. Off there is a little boat. Another bridge over there. This is another small mouse garden. This is the entrance to Koshiji Temple. We're about half an hour south of Kyoto by train. There's a man there's sweeping off the leaves and debris off the moss. Where I just was called the lower garden, and this is up perhaps 30 or 50 feet higher. This moss here is called Leucobrium. We have this in central to northern Wisconsin. Grows in acidic conditions. This is the Kyoto train station. Amazing place. Up at the very top, probably 600 to 700 feet above the floor. Takes 5 escalators to get up here. There's a big Christmas tree. Maybe 4 here and there are seats. You see thousands of people. They have concerts and what have you down below. I'm pretty close to the tree. They're playing Christmas music. And here it is right close up. Now this looks up the other direction, way to the top. There are rows upon rows upon rows of seats. The lights keep changing composition and the color. I just turned from red to green. This view is now taken from the other end of that garden. I'm at the corner of the building now. It opens up into another garden. Now turn to blue. With some red and white. And And there continues now to the first garden that I was in. Here we are racing through another train station. Shinkansen trains. And this is the Obai Inn Sub-Temple. When I was here in April 2014, it was my favorite garden in Kyoto. And it's still fantastic. Mosses here, Polytrichum moss. This looks much better in the fall here than it did in April. Take this shot now through the opening of the Honen Inn Temple. Still in Obai Inn Temple. This is another garden farther in, taken from inside the building. This is now the same garden taken from outside. This is the same garden now a little farther along. Still farther along yet. This is the Koen Inn Temple. This Koen Inn Temple stems from the 1500s. This is a very nice and well-maintained moss garden here. Here's another one, very nice. There's a lot of azalea bushes in. It looks back to the entrance. There's a mound of raked gravel there, about 1.5 feet high. This is now the Zuiho Inn Temple, again from the middle 1500s. Nice little bed of equisetum here. This is a very nice Zen garden here. This garden is called Taizo Inn. It's going to be rather late afternoon, so the shadows are long. It's quite pretty here. Bad ravens. Just nearby is this garden. Very beautiful and unusual. These are clipped azaleas, azalea bushes, going together and appear to be one. Pretty incredible view here. Looking back up to the clipped azaleas, but now from the other side. This is another temple real nearby, the last one. It's quite pretty with the late afternoon sun. Same place, a little different view. Beautiful moss garden inside. This is a very big stone, maybe 25 feet high, like a pagoda. Now in the city of Himeji, about 45 minutes from Kyoto, going to see the Himeji Castle. Off that distance there. It's a 400-year-old castle. This is in the entry courtyard. This is Polytrichum moss in the foreground. These here must have been ancient foundations of other buildings surrounding the castle, which is up there. It's the very southern end of the castle. This is the entrance to another temple called Anrokuji. You have a rather nice Polytrichum moss garden here. You have a rather nice Polytrichum moss garden here. There's something fairly rare in Japan, an artificial mound with moss on the top. There's a rice field back there. This is the top of the entrance gate. Very beautiful thudium moss covering. This is the entrance to a place called Aikendo. That's the madhouse. Tremendous display of colorful Japanese maples here. Plus a million people. A very pretty moss garden here. This right here is a rock about 2.5 feet high. In front of the moss garden. There's a pond in the background. Farther in, this is the interior courtyard. Mainly polytrichum moss. Not very well maintained. I'm on my way to Nagoya on a drizzly day. There's a Buddha. First one I've ever seen in a Japanese garden in Japan. Lots of moss on him. It's a pretty lake scene here, but the sun just went away, so it would have been a lot prettier. There's the castle itself, pretty close up. And now I'm in Hiroshima. This is what remains of the building that was almost directly under the explosion of the bomb in August 1945. Exploded about 1,900 feet in the air. Everything was destroyed. around here except this building. Quite amazing that it survived. This is the entrance to Byodo Inn. It's a temple built about 1,000 years ago, 1050, 1052. This lawn here is a slight amount of moss with lots of grass and weeds. Previous scene was taken on top of a bridge. The water came out of the lake. Now this is on the other side of the bridge. Quite an incredible moss garden down there. This is now that stream, downstream about 80 feet or so, looking up. The sun is coming out now, so you see just such an incredible view. This pond is in the center of the garden. In the middle of the pond is a place called Hudo Hall, built in 1053. About 200,000 people in total died immediately with the bomb and then afterwards from radiation poisoning. Everyone in this building was instantly vaporized. That's what the building looked like before the bomb. And after. Very nice bell, about 3.5 feet high. golf course, driving range over there with that netting around it. It's on the way to Nagoya for Frisbee Day. There's my train. I'm taking to Nagoya. 506 Sakari. I better get on. Beginning to get into the Japanese Alps. As soon as you get a flat area, you get a huge city. There's the Hagia Sophia. Originally a Christian church built in the 1500s. The city of Constantinople. After it was run over by the Ottoman Turks, became a mosque. This temple here is the Tofukuji Temple. This is now the garden of the temple. This temple has been here since the 700s. This is now the entrance. This is a very beautiful garden. Lots of trees and color. Lots of moss, not very well maintained. Very beautiful scene here underneath a bridge. It's a bridge that goes over a river. Everywhere you walk here, there are incredible scenes. Too bad there are so many people. Just an incredible tree here. This is now the entrance. This is actually the third church built in this site. This present one here was built in 532. And in 1453, the Ottoman Turks, the Muslims, took it over. This is right after the entrance, sort of like a big long vestibule.
The top 7 windows on the top of the were indicating the last chamber.
This is now a view from top of the bridge.
そうなっちゃうのかな。あそこに立てばいい専用の写真。
Here's the most famous part of the garden, the Zen garden, or dry sea garden. In back there are several mounds of moss. Now standing inside the building about 20 feet. garden then goes around the corner of the house and to this side. And going around the building, there's another moss garden. Now this is the second story above the vestibule on the first floor. This is now a much larger garden here. Lots of tourists all of a sudden, all Japanese. Continuing around the building is yet another moss garden. This one with a checkerboard pattern. This looks considerably better than it does in the springtime. I was here in April of 2014, 2.5 years ago. This is now the interior of this mosque or the church, probably from about 60 feet up in the air. It's a rather large moss area here. Quite well maintained. This moss garden is in a temple called Komyo-in. Again, polytrichum moss is the moss primarily growing here. This is now taken from inside one of the buildings. It looks out into the garden. There's an altar there. This is used now from the other side of the garden. This is used now from the far corner. Entering now Hojinen Temple.
あれば、その撮影するの許可を受ける。
A rather nice garden. This is the Fushinanami Taisha shrine. It's a little farther in. People come here to pray for success in life of one sort or another from the gods. This is a Shinto shrine. You make a prayer and then you shake the banner. It's a very unusual garden, very pretty. Lots of changes in altitude, structures. This now is the very beginning of a series of Torai gates. Each one was put up by somebody in business that's hoping for success in the business. It's a Shinto religious concept. This is now up the hillside about 100 yards. It just continues to go. So here's a site from the beginning. This is the entrance to Senryuji Temple. So far it's better. Only about a 1/1000th of the people at the other gardens and temples. This view is now from the side of the cathedral or mosque. This is a very nice courtyard here. Small mosque garden. This is now the interior garden. Quite fantastic looking. Even though the sun is not out, the trees are still quite beautiful. There's a small garden right off the entry. Quite nice moss garden. There's now the ceiling of one of the side walls. This is about 100 feet away from the previous location. The waterfall here. It's a very small moss garden here. I'm now inside the house, walking out towards another little garden. This is now Imakamaro Temple, a Buddhist temple with a statue of a Buddha with children here. Now I'm right in the middle of the building, looking up to the top. Lots of koi in the water here. There's a big cemetery. This is one of about 4 cemeteries about this size here. This is the entry courtyard of a very small temple called Yojin Inn. Late afternoon sun makes for a very pretty scene here on this rock. It's a big temple called Shugaku Inn. Moss looks nice in the late afternoon sun. Very pretty late afternoon sun on the maples. And Buddhists chanting in the background and a kid crying, destroying the scene. I'm back outside the mosque now. Off just in the distance there, about a third of a mile, is the famous Blue Mosque that I'm going to next. This big pine tree here is 700 years old. This is now the entrance to the Ninomaru Palace, which is inside the Nijo Castle. Here's the palace itself. Kyoto was the capital of Japan for about 1,000 years, until the 1800s, 1860s actually. Well-maintained moss garden here. There's a pond inside their garden. It's now much closer to the waterfall on the other side of the pond. Off in the distance there is a bridge. This is now the Sairu-in garden of the Nijo Castle. Off in the distance there is the castle itself. It's now farther in to the garden. This is the entranceway to Tofukuji Temple. The yellow flowers here in legal area, perennial, which I have at home as well.
Right, it's going to be very patient around here getting photos. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Now I'm inside the Spice Bazaar. Intricate maze of shops. As you can hear in the background, call of prayer. This garden is now in the far interior of the temple. The name of the temple is actually in Toko-in.
なったら、だって思ってたね。
Another nice setting for it.
これ池だったんですよね。
Couple of bridges.
水がなくなっちゃったんだね。あそこいいね。
Cloudy day today, so the leaves aren't too pretty. Another nice looking mosque here.